Today, a very short-lived WRAL weather alert day as we track some heavy rain that's not just impacting frequently traveled roads during the morning commute, but starting to hear some delays at RDU. We'll get to that here in just a little bit.
Arrest investigation. Kinston police are facing tough questions after video reveals one of its officers punching an 18-year-old multiple times. What the department is saying as the family calls for justice.
School funding challenges. Wake County school leaders are working around the clock today, while state leaders are trying to get federal dollars unfrozen by the Trump administration. We'll tell you which programs are being affected and what we can expect from today's meeting. What we're expecting from a lot of things. WRAL Weather Alert Day just popped up here on our Tuesday right now. What we can expect around our area weather-wise. I'm Jeff Hogan. Good to have you with us.
And I'm Renee Chu, and that's because of pop-up showers and storms making for a wet morning commute. Let's get right to meteorologist Chris Michaels in the WRAL Severe Weather Center with who's seeing the heaviest rain.
And it's right at RDU. In fact, I've been talking with WRAL's Ali Kadlabar, who's in the breaking news tracker. You'll hear from her within minutes, and she's reporting some delays at RDU as we've seen a number of lightning strikes, starting to see some heavy rain as well. So it impacts your flights into and out of town, but also the morning commute on some very heavily traveled roads, the Beltline, I-540, I-40, things like that. In terms of the flood risk, Northampton County has a flash flood warning until 8:15, but this again is going to be the main concern for our morning commute. And you see the amount of lightning strikes there in very close proximity to RDU. There's Farrington, there's Jordan Lake, which we should be avoiding just because the lake levels are very high after the past week. But this is going to pose a little bit of a risk to travel. In fact, Kelsey Coffey said she couldn't go live just a few minutes ago because the lightning was starting to pick up, so she was seeking safe shelter as well. In the meantime, hour by hour rain chances, they'll go down a little bit after this morning round. Scattered storms on the way this afternoon. We're updating the flood risk for that coming up. Ken?
And Chris, it's 6:01. Let's get right to Ali Kadlabar and photographer Michael joining the WRAL Storm Tracker, giving us a first-hand account of what to expect. If you're heading out this morning, you're in Wake County. Set the scene for us, Ali.
Yes, Ken. Well, really just within the past 10 minutes, we were right by RDU and it started to downpour. We want to take you to, this is I-40. We are heading into Durham County right now. Right now, people are driving a little bit slow, just no hazards on or anything like that. But you can see that it's actually lightened up just a little bit, but it was just raining pretty heavy right here on I-40 in Durham County. Over the past few hours, it's been a little spotty. We've been in Granville County, Wake County, and now we're in Durham County. So as you can see, people are kind of moving a little bit slower. You may want to just be very cautious if you're heading on I-40 right now. But what are you seeing out there, Ken?
Listen, Ali, that rain is coming down at a rather steady clip. So really and truly, people really need to leave the house a little sooner than usual this morning as a result of what's happening. Right now, we're seeing a little bit of a slowdown on I-40 on Fayetteville's Road right there, the streets at Southbound because of that construction zone. We'll keep an eye on that and let you know how much that's going to affect your morning commute. But really, all the other major routes are delay-free at this hour. You're getting ready to head out the door because of these rain showers moving through parts of our viewing area. Tune us in on the radio. We'll keep you updated. 101.5 HD3.
And I want to bring you here into the WRAL Live Center. We're tracking delays, as we heard Ali Kadlabar kind of hinting at there. So I want to show you what it looks like from FlightAware. They essentially show you at least 19 delays. And the number just kind of kept going on in terms of how it's progressed in the morning. It says total cancellations today at RDU. It looks like it's 18. So a lot of these appear to be coming from the Northeast, which, I mean, that makes sense, right? As we look at our weather map that we have here, the New York area, et cetera, you'll see there's some activity on the map there. And if we put that in conjunction with the Misery map, you'll see that New York has a lot of red on there in terms of delays. So obviously a lot of flights coming from that area into RDU. That is where we are seeing most of the action that's happening there. I do want to bring you up RDU, a live camera that we have. There we go. We have that punched up there. So you can see there's some cloudy areas in the sky that we're still monitoring there. And obviously Kelsey Coffey not being able to go live, we want to make sure that safety is key, especially if we're seeing lightning or anything of the sort. As the morning progresses and as we continue to look at the delays and the cancellation situation at RDU, we'll report you an update here live in the WRAL Live Center.
Wake County school leaders have a busy day ahead today as they try to work out budget challenges the district is facing. Kelsey Coffey has more about the meeting that comes just one day after state leaders announced efforts to get federal funding unfrozen.
Today, parents can find out how school leaders are working to address this budget issue. So lots of conversations will be happening here at the school board headquarters later today. School leaders will share their plans to move forward as they face more than $30 million in federal funding cuts. Check out this list of services that will be impacted. These cuts affect everything from teacher training to support for immigrant students. The district could face even more funding cuts. That depends on how much money they'll receive from the state. Right now, we're waiting on the state's budget. WRAL education insider Emily Walkenhorst explains where most of these cuts are coming from.
The Trump administration disagreed with how the money was being spent. And they didn't necessarily have a specific complaint with how Wake County was spending the money, but they had examples, across the country where they felt, diversity, equity, and inclusion was being improperly applied. And so they just paused the funding for everyone.
Coming up in the next half hour, you'll hear the state superintendent explain how some of these cuts could cause changes to your child's school next year. Kelsey Coffey, WRAL News in Cary.
WRAL will continue to follow today's conversation on school funding throughout the day. Be sure to tune in to WRAL's evening news starting at 4 p.m.
Kinston Police Department is facing some tough questions this morning. A video surfaced showing a Kinston police officer punching an 18-year-old several times. We want to warn you that this is disturbing video as you take a close look at it. The video was shot by a bystander on Sunday just off South Tiffany Street. The teen gets punched twice before other officers arrive and help hold him down. The teen says he blacked out and suffered a seizure while being detained.
You feel all that weight on you, you can't really tell what's going on with your body.
I do want justice, though. I really do. Because that right there don't make no sense. It really don't.
Now, the Kinston Police Department says it is aware of this incident and it is investigating. According to warrants, the officer was responding to a breaking and entering call. Police claim the teen, among other things, refused to comply with the officer's orders. The teen is facing charges of resisting a public officer and communicating threats.
A former Wayne County group home worker is out on bond this morning after he was charged with assaulting a man with a disability. The North Carolina Department of Health and Human Services launched an investigation into 39-year-old Terrence Gray earlier this year. It comes after an abuse claim against an adult client with a disability. The Wayne County Sheriff's Office says Gray was charged with multiple counts of assault on an individual with disabilities and communicating threats. The Sheriff's Office says Gray no longer works at the home. Gray has been released on bond. His next court date is scheduled for Monday.
It's a new legal blow in St. Augustine's fight to keep its accreditation after years of financial struggles. An arbitration panel has ruled in favor of removing it, but the school says it is not giving up yet. In a statement, St. Aug's says the school has plans for financial recovery and has secured new funding to address its debt problems. However, some advocates for maintaining the accreditation of the HBCU say they were not surprised by the panel's decision and that the school previously was not doing enough to fix the issues.
Those things weren't addressed. So if you don't address them, then you're not going to get accredited. We alumni do not want our university to go in peril. That university needs to stay. And I'm asking all the partners that we've talked to over these last years to stand with us.
St. Augustine says its attorneys will be filing an injunction with the courts to maintain its accreditation during this legal process.
New overnight, temporarily protected Afghans in the U.S. will remain in place for now, thanks to a last-minute court ruling. An extension from the Fourth Circuit Court of Appeals will allow roughly 11,000 Afghans in America to keep their status through at least next Monday. Their temporary status was set to be terminated at midnight. The new court ruling will buy more time for a broader ruling on the policy. Temporary protected status for Afghans was first granted back in 2022.
There's a new timeline for debris cleanup in western North Carolina following Helene. The U.S. Army Corps of Engineers says it still needs to complete waterway debris removal in 3 counties. They expect that to be complete by the end of July. Crews are expected to continue their work at Lake Lure through the fall. The Army Corps of Engineers and contractors are currently removing sediment from the lake bed, which is currently drained.
Well over 9.5 months, the mission continues in a lot of areas.
It is an extremely important effort.
And every team member that's come out has been greatly appreciated and been an asset to us getting this finished.
Also, private property debris removal is still underway in Buncombe and McDowell counties. They expect to start the removal in Lake Lure, Chimney Rock, and Polk County shortly. Coming up on 10 after 6 on your Tuesday, 911 calls unanswered as floodwaters overtook a Durham home. A family says their pleas for help weren't respected. How they say a dispatcher dismissed their emergency.
Plus, landmark on fire. Wildfires near the Grand Canyon are forcing hundreds of evacuations. Why the National Park Service let those fires burn for days without an aggressive attack.
And this morning, while I'm giving you a live look at RDU, I'm also working to update our website and our weather app right now. Be sure to check in with your flight status, as I've seen a number of lightning strikes there at the airport within the last 5 minutes.
As you get into your car, tune to WRAL News Plus on your radio. In Raleigh on 99.3 FM. In Durham, 96.5 FM. And everywhere on 101.5 HD3.
6:13 this morning in our WRAL weather alert day is a short-lived one flash flood warning for the western part of Northampton County, especially just north of Weldon. Downpours during the peak morning commute affecting not just the roads, but also some delays at RDU, as you heard from Chris Lovingood. Here's a live look at Fenton and Cary, where you're probably seeing some occasional lightning. The clouds getting darker, but it's yet to start pouring there. Let's get you started with a look at dual Doppler 5000. That is torrential rain right around the airport. You see the lightning strikes, and so that's probably causing some significant delays. We'll check back in with that in a minute. And you also notice right along 64 between Apex and areas like Farrington and Jordan Lake, there's that low water bridge there, so we'll keep an eye on that. In terms of Northampton County, this is where the flash flood warning is. Radar estimates of anywhere from 2 to 6 inches of rain. Thankfully, the rain moving out of there. But I-40 at Aviation Parkway, Ken, that looks pretty ominous there.
Yeah, rain coming down at a steady clip, courtesy of our live cam network. You can see it right here. Traffic is beginning to pick up just a bit, so I can't stress enough. Slow down, watch your pacing out there this morning, because we are also seeing some lightning strikes as well. Here's in Durham, I-40 and Fayetteville Road. This is the construction zone, some damp conditions as well. You're looking at maybe like a 3 to 5 minute delay, depending on if you're coming from Chapel Hill. We'll keep you posted here all morning long, but this is a situation that we'll continue to watch. But as far as the big picture goes, all our major routes in the Triangle and surrounding communities right now are delay-free.
Ken, thank you. President Donald Trump says more weapons are on the way for Ukraine as he issues a warning to Russian President Vladimir Putin. In a meeting with the UN Secretary General, President Trump announced that the U.S. will be sending Patriot missiles to Ukraine to help stave off Russian attacks. Trump is also threatening severe tariffs for Russia if it does not agree to a ceasefire deal with Ukraine. A White House official has confirmed that this could include 100% tariffs from the U.S. on top of secondary sanctions from other countries.
A new study from UNC Chapel Hill reveals flooding in North Carolina is far more common and more widespread than previously recognized. That research team created maps for more than 70 previously unmapped flood events, linking them to exact locations of buildings. The study found over 20,000 buildings flooded several times between 1996 and 2020 in a portion of the state where many were not covered by flood insurance. That's a 7,000% increase from FEMA's record of repetitively flooded properties. And almost half of those were located outside areas officially recognized as high risk by FEMA.
WRAL is looking for answers after a Durham family says their plea for help during Chantal were met with a dismissive tone from 911 as floodwaters overtook their home. The Duttons say it took more than an hour for rescuers to arrive. They first called 911 just after 2:45 a.m. and their last call went out just before 4:30 a.m. They say a dispatcher got an attitude with them.
She was just getting smart, like, we know it's flooding, we know it's happening, we'll send somebody over there.
WRAL took the Duttons' concerns to city leaders. We asked what they can do to prevent something like this in the future. We haven't heard back.
A fast-moving wildfire destroyed a historic lodge and dozens of other buildings right near the Grand Canyon, forcing hundreds of evacuations. Michelle McConaughey is here now with the efforts to contain all this. Michelle.
Yeah, Jeff, the Dragon Bravo fire began on July 4th along the canyon's north rim. Now, this is an area where most visitors don't venture, but it's burning very quickly. At first, the Park Service said the fire was being allowed to burn to benefit the land. But days after the Dragon Bravo fire first ignited, the massive white sage fire started 35 miles north, at one point growing 20 times in size in 24 hours. Both fires are still burning out of control this morning. More than 70 structures have been lost, including the historic Grand Canyon Lodge, homes of park employees, a visitor center, and several cabins. At least 500 people forced to evacuate, leaving everything behind.
We still have 0% containment. We're in full suppression mode. We're throwing everything we got at it.
And that nearly century-old historic Grand Canyon Lodge is destroyed. All employees and guests were safely evacuated from it. While only about 10% of canyon tourists travel to the North Rim, it is now shut down for the rest of the season. And Arizona Governor Katie Hobbs called for a federal investigation into the Park Service's handling of the fire.
Just a terrible sight there, Michelle, to this beautiful site of the popular sunflowers at Dix Park in full bloom. The blooms should last for about the next 2 weeks. They peaked earlier this year because of all our summer showers. Sky 5 flew over the fields yesterday and caught families taking advantage of great photo opportunities. Crews planted 125,000 sunflower seeds on 5 acres. You can go and visit for free 7 days a week from dawn until dusk. To find out where to park and what to bring, you can go to WRAL.com and search sunflowers. Definitely bring the little ones. They have a great time. It's a beautiful sight out there. Things are not as pretty today when you take a look outside in some of our areas. That's why it's a WRAL weather alert day. Maybe short-lived, though, Chris.
Yeah, short-lived. You just see that lightning strike there at RDU. That's probably causing some fairly significant delays. Also pouring down the rain right now at the airport. So that's part of why we have this, again, short-lived WRAL weather alert days. This is going to impact not just travel on the roads in some frequently traveled areas, but also the air as well. So there you see all that lightning, very heavy rain right on the Wake and Chatham County line. There's I-540 as you were to go in between Apex and Cary, and then a few downpours popping up just around Garner and right on the Wake and Johnston County line. Rain is fairly light and steady in Franklin County, not overly concerned with that. Rain finally moving out of the western part of Northampton County. That's where you have a flash flood warning until 8:15. Radar's estimated several inches of rain falling there, especially along I-95. Be careful. So I've kind of switched up the forecast data here. This is the only model that seems to have any clue what's going on, and is doing a decent job at handling that rain in the western part of Wake County. Has it dissipating by about 8:30, 9 o'clock this morning, which is why our weather alert day is going to be short-lived. Heading into the afternoon, may have to make up for some of the energy lost during the morning rains. The storms will be pretty hit and miss, about a 30 to 40% chance after 2 or 3 p.m. Better coverage of showers and storms is likely going to be toward the Piedmont, and then as we go through the overnight hours, things will start to weaken, will be mostly cloudy. Flood risk, good news there is that it is a little lower and it's been shifted farther to the north, but if you were to head toward the mountains, foothills, and Piedmont, their risk is a little higher than ours. Hey, speaking of those sunflowers, there will be time to get outside today and take some pictures, especially after this morning round of rain. Just some hit or miss storms after 2 p.m. and a temperature of 90 degrees. We'll take you into the tropics pretty briefly. 40% chance of development right along the Gulf Coast. I could see those chances going up today, especially as it moves into that warm water, but that's going to stay well to the south and west of here. Not expecting any immediate or direct impact from that system. So for today, again, short-lived WRAL weather alert day due to the effect that these storms are having on some travel in the area. Low 90s by Wednesday afternoon. Heading later in the week, we're looking at high temperatures, 93 to 95 degrees. And of course, the humidity is going to be a factor in that, but the rain definitely a factor there on the sensors.
Absolutely. And because of all the rain that we've been seeing this morning, we have the WRAL Storm Tracker out on the roads this morning. Ali Cadlabar and photographer Mark Alexic are giving us a first-hand account of what they're seeing right now. They're around the I-40 eastbound lanes around Fayetteville Road there in Durham. You can see that's the construction zone we've been telling telling you about all morning long that's causing a little bit of delay there. Definitely watch your pacing and slow down and really give yourself some extra time this morning as you're about to head out. Back here in Wake County, we're seeing I-40 and Aviation Parkway traffic really picking up in those westbound lanes coming toward us this morning. It's a situation where you will definitely want to give yourself some extra time this morning. In terms of I-40 westbound, we're not seeing any delays whatsoever, so that's really good news. You're getting ready to head out the door, though. Tune us in on the radio. We've got you covered. 101.5 HD3.
And Ken, just moments ago, we saw 2 lightning flashes on this camera over downtown Cary Park. So please be careful out there. Still ahead, tracking inflation. Is it finally cooling off? 5 on your side's Kelly Arthur takes a look at the trends this summer and shows us which prices remain stable and which ones are heating up.
Plastic in yogurts, a popular brand, is being recalled for a possible choking hazard. What you need to do if you have it in your fridge.
This What's Trending report, sponsored by Rug & Home.
Long fly balls and the return of the magical world of a famous wizard.
Ken Smith here now. What's trending on our Tuesday, Ken?
Yeah, Jeff and Renee, let's start on the baseball diamond. The biggest baseball stars are on the big stage this week for the All-Star Game, and MLB's home run leader showed out in the home run derby. Seattle Mariners catcher and North Carolina native, by the way, Cal Raleigh, defeated Tampa Bay Rays third baseman Junior Caminero in the final round.
Look at this. I mean, he's a North Carolina native. His last name's Raleigh. and first catcher ever to win the home run derby, and he leads the league in home runs. This guy's got it going on.
And that never happens, right?
Right, it doesn't usually.
Yeah, that's unusual.
Hey, Harry Potter fans, exciting news for you this morning. Production on season 1 of the new TV series officially underway. We're getting our first look at the newest actor set to take on the role, Dominic McLaughlin. Each of the 7 books will get its own season.
It's Harry Potter. Look at how adorable he is. Variety reports that shooting for the series will last until spring of next year. The HBO series set to debut in 2027.
Doppelganger.
Oh, yeah.
Ken, thank you. Still ahead, school funding challenges. Leaders with Wake County Schools are talking about the budget today, while a legal challenge is brewing over federal education funding. We'll tell you what programs are being impacted.
And this morning, a new flash flood warning in effect for the northeastern part of Northampton County. That's in effect until 9:30. Meanwhile, as I switch views to Cary, starting to see some of the heavy rain coming into the western part of Wake County. I'll help you plan for the commute and air travel coming up.
And a suspect charged. A teen has been arrested in connection to a drive-by shooting that injured a man. What we know about the suspect and the victim.